As a Sunday night, you know what time it is. Time for Pro Prep Baseball. I'm Ken Arnold.
I'm Tommy Weber.
And welcome back. So, Webbs, So, what do you think?
That I don't like about the series so far?
Yeah, any of the playoffs you've seen so far. What don't you like, or what do you like? What have you liked so far that you've seen?
Well, if the reality is that the kids are here and they want to play loud, if playing loud means you don't run out balls that get hit to the wall and you only get singles on balls that could have been doubles, and you prevent your team from an opportunity to making the World Series, my advice to those who want to play loud is to shut up, play quiet, play hard, and play to win. Trying is not optional, and we're really starting to gravitate towards really dangerous waters here in baseball to some degree. This is not old school. The reality is you're paid to try, and your teammates should hold you accountable. The game and the press should certainly hold you accountable to that. So anybody who's out there who's more interested in posing and celebrating than they are in running and winning, I have no use for. So that's what I don't like. What I do like is in these series, it looks like we've got some real exciting, suspense-filled baseball. Pitchers duels, pitchers going in deep into games, and managers trying hard to screw it up, but not able to so far. I thought last night's game there was some questionable managing by both managers. And I just don't like the idea of force-feeding guys into games irrespective of what the starting pitcher is doing. Tanaka gives up basically one hit in 7 innings. He's not coming out of the game if I'm the manager. I'm sorry. There's no way I'm force-feeding Ottavino into that game, regardless of what the score is. And I thought also that Greinke, if you watched him, once he gives the home run up to Torres, I think you got to get him out of the game and keep it at 2.
Yeah,
because
not
he wasn't going to
yeah.
come in to pitch the 7th inning anyway.
Yep.
And to let the game go to 3 and then let it go to 4 or whatever, I think at that point it was out of reach, although it wasn't out of reach based on the fact that they still had outs left. You just felt that the Astros weren't going to come back after that. They needed to keep it at 2. So that's what I liked, and that's what I didn't like.
All right. Hey, Renee, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Hi, Renee.
So I think, and this is going to be his legacy. Dave Roberts manages himself right out of the playoffs every season. Every season. And you know what? I like Clayton Kershaw. I think he's a great in-season starting pitcher. But in the playoffs, he has a track record of not being able to succeed. And I'd have brought him in for that one hitter. He got the guy out on 3 straight pitches, and that would have been it. I would have brought in Medea, who has been kicking butt for you all season long. That has been your pattern all season long. That's what you did all season long. And you stayed with Kershaw, and you saw what happened. I would have, and then you brought in Medea right after that, and you got 1, 2, 3. Right after that. I don't know. But the Nats on the other side, they're playing really well. Soto's hitting the heck out of the ball. So is Rondon. And those guys are really doing a great job for the Nationals. And they're getting good pitching. So
And they got the big starters. Those big starters are good. They really are. I agree with you. I don't quite agree wholeheartedly with the fact that Clayton Kershaw is a terrible postseason pitcher. He's had a lot of great games in the postseason. Unfortunately, because everything is so magnified, his shortcomings have been in very, very big spots. That's true. But that being the case, he costs them the game when he stays with Joe Kelly in the 10th inning. Was it 10th inning, I guess?
Yeah.
I mean, there's one rule of managing is you don't lose the game with your best guy not figuring into the game. And he's got his closer warming up in the bullpen, and Kelly is about to give the game away. If you're going to lose with your best guy. Instead, what does he do? He lets Kelly give up the home run, and then he takes him out for what reason I will never know, because at that point, it's game, set, and match. So I will agree with you on this. Dave Roberts is just not a really good manager, and time again, he keeps proving that, and they keep going back to him. So either they don't value the role of the manager or they don't see it the way we do, but it's hard not to see it.
Yeah, I just, watching him and making his decisions, and Kershaw, like I said, I really like him as a starter. I don't like
pitcher.
Bringing him in the middle of a game. I just really don't. And, they brought him in, and, of course, he got the first guy, the lefty, which I would bring him in to face a lefty. But I wouldn't let him stay in against, the guys that came up.
Well, Rendon
right
is the big guy there.
Yeah.
The guy to get is Rendon.
Yeah.
Because if you get him, no matter what, all that the next guy could do is make it 3-2. So the probably the move is at that point to bring in a good right-handed pitcher to sort of
Medea, that was the guy.
Reduce the chances of him hitting the long ball. Get him out, and it doesn't matter what the next guy does. But that's not what happened, and he went on to double down in the 10th, and they're not playing right now.
Yep. All right.
Game to win in a playoff game, you would still want him on the mound. He's done a lot of great pitching in the playoffs. So this nonsense about his legacy is ruined because of one relief inning stint that he made, I think is absurd. And I really think people have to, back off a little bit on that. But I just, come on. Last night's game, Astros, Yankees, I think two things. You watch two pitchers who don't throw the ball 100 miles an hour, who could get guys out. Tanaka's tremendous. He buries all of his mistakes. It's hard to hit a mistake when it's in the ground, and that's what Tanaka does. Most of his bad pitches wind up in the dirt. Conversely, Greinke is just the opposite. When he makes a bad pitch, he doesn't get on top of that breaking ball, and he made two mistakes to Gleyber Torres, and basically that cost them the game. Good hitters hit pitchers' mistakes. There were a couple of pitches in there early on in the game that both Bregman and Altuve missed on that they needed to connect on, and that's usually the difference in a ball game. You don't get a lot of mistakes in a big league game, and when you get them, you got to hit them. And
oh, you froze up on me, Webbs. You froze up on me. We're having technical gift. Hey, you jumped out for a second. Yeah, I got you back. You jumped out for a second. All right, you're back in. All right, give me a second here. I think we might have been kicked off of Facebook Live when that happened. So let me bring that back up really quick. So I think we're still rolling on YouTube, though. So if you want to talk more about what you were going on about, go ahead. You can keep talking while I try
I
to
just
bring
think,
this back up.
for all that we talk about hitting and the mechanics and all that other stuff, at the end of the day, what happens is the good hitters hit mistakes. They don't miss them. They don't foul them off. And if you watch a game really closely, and if you turn the sound down a little bit so that you're not influenced by the continuous talking that never ends. I don't know how anybody listens to these guys. Yeah. I don't care how good they are. They just never stop. Yeah. You notice that it really comes down to if a catcher's setting up on the outside corner and the pitch winds up on the inside part of the plate, it usually gets hit by good hitters, and that's the difference, and that's what happened last night. The Yankees are so selective at the plate that when they get a mistake, they usually jump all over it. They do damage. So if that continues, it's going to be a short series. Yankees are very, very good at doing that. Tonight, I think, is as close to a must-win as you could have.
For the Astros.
Verlander on the mound, yeah. Verlander on the mound at home. I mean, you would really, really be at long odds if you leave Houston down 2-0. So it's going to be an interesting game.
So what do you think about Stanton's performance so far in the playoffs? I mean, he had a home run yesterday, which was great. But otherwise, what do you think about what he's been up to? And do you think Cameron Maybin should be in the game every now? I know they're bringing him in late in the game, Maybin, for defensive reasons. They've been doing that in the playoffs. But what do you think?
What you think is influenced, obviously, by what the guy makes. Healthy, he's going to be in the lineup someplace, somewhere. So irrespective of who you might think should be in the lineup, he has not been bad. He just hasn't been all that good, as far as I could tell. But you know what? When you have a juggernaut team like the Yankees who score 7, 8, 9 runs a game, you can afford to put a guy in the lineup who's going to strike out a lot and hit a couple of home runs every now and then.
Yeah. All right, I got to tell everybody to go over to YouTube because Facebook keeps kicking us right off. Every time I try to get back on it, it just keeps kicking us out. So YouTube is going, which is good, and we've got a feed going over there. So let's just keep going on YouTube. So we had a game today. It was fascinating. Yep. It was a close game, actually. We lost 10-9. The umpires didn't show up, so, we had to wind up umping the games ourselves. I love that when the umpires don't show up. So, that was fun, and it was all right. It wasn't bad. We should have stomped this team, but it's crazy. Hey, Renee's back. He said, "All right, thanks
Renee's
for joining
a warrior."
us. I know he is. Well, he had to switch from Facebook to YouTube.
That's what happens when you come to America on a life raft.
Yeah, I guess.
Tough son of a bitch.
Tommy, he's asking us what we think of Gleyber Torres, and I'm going to tell you right now, that kid's amazing. He's just tearing it up right now.
Ridiculous, man. He's got the goods, man. There's nothing. What are you going to say about Gleyber Torres?
Nothing
he has
bad.
all the tools. He plays hard, and
we got the FU thrown on us.
Some things never change.
Some things never do.
I mean, Gleyber Torres is one of the best players in the game. He really is. He keeps this up, he's going to have a Hall of Fame career. I mean, he's got every tool. He's a tremendous fielder. He runs, power. I mean, he is really, really good. And he's got incredible plate discipline for a kid that's 22 years old. My God.
Oh, yeah, he does. He spit on some pitches yesterday. I was like, oh, my God. How did he not swing at that?
Yeah, he takes some pitches that really you should swing at. That might have been the best deal that Brian Cashman has ever made. He gave up Chapman, right? Mm-hmm. Right? That's who they got back for Chapman.
Yep.
And then he got Chapman back, and he got Gleyber Torres.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good moving. That's pretty good moves really right there. Yeah. Wow. And I got to tell you though, I really don't think Houston is going to be able to hang with these guys. I mean, if Verlander can't do something tonight, they got Cole next, and Cole's good. He's really good, but in Yankee Stadium on the road, I don't know. What's his record on the road? I don't even know. I haven't even looked it up yet.
I don't know, but he's really good. Look, Yankee Stadium, everything changes because last night I counted there were like 5 balls that would have been home runs at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Didi Gregorius hit one. A couple of other guys hit a couple of balls that would have been home runs. So you're right. Yankee Stadium changes the equation, but a guy like Garrett Cole can shut you down. Can the Yankees be shut down? I don't know. Right now they're on this. I said this when the series began. Everything has gone right for the Yankees. Everything. And if it continues, they're going to be throwing champagne on each other in another week or so, winning the World Series and having a parade. And it seems like, after last night, it certainly has. But you know as well as I do, it's a long series. A lot can happen. And your perspective on things can change from night to night.
Yeah,
if Verlander 5 hits them tonight, all of a sudden you're going to say, well, the Yankees are vulnerable. They strike out a lot. They didn't score that many runs, and now it's a 1-1 series. So who knows? It remains to be seen, and that's why baseball's a great game because you just never know.
I think it's going to come down to a defensive battle. Who makes the fewest errors, I think, in this series is going to be the team that wins because you're going to get good pitching on both sides. I don't think the Yankees have the same strength at the starter as the Astros do, but I do think that the Yankees bullpen more than makes up for that. But I think defensively, whoever plays better defense, I think is going to win.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I think in these games, whoever scores first, Joe Torre used to always say this. The guy who scores first has an advantage, and I believe that too, being in the dugout, as you know. It's nice to score first and get the lead. That wild pitch last night was a big play. That ball gets by, it sends LeMahieu to second, and on Torres' double, he scores. He probably doesn't score if he's on first base. So that changes the game. Now, you feel like you could score. You're going to get some runs off Greinke. That gives you a big lift. So I agree. Defense can play a big part. I think the Yankees do hamstring themselves a little defensively with Stanton in left field, but that's not their best defensive team. That's why he usually comes out in the late innings. But you just never know. I agree. Defense can play a big role in this game. I will say this. I can't see the Astros pummeling the Yankees, but I can see the Yankees pummeling the Astros.
Yeah. What about the other series, the Nats and the Cards? Do you think the Cards have a chance going down 2-0? 0-2, I mean. Do you think they can come back and overcome the Nats and make a series out of that? I'm saying they're getting swept in 4. So, whoop, I lost Weber again. Let me bring him back. Give me a second. Quick. Let me disconnect here, reconnect. I got you back. Yeah.
I think that series is over.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think they're going to get swept. I think.
Yeah, I never thought the Cardinals. I never thought much of the Cardinals, and I think Washington's better than people give them credit for. Those two the starting pitching is big, and they've got some good play. Rendon is really, really good. The other kid is good. The left-hander,
Soto.
Soto, man, that kid. He's another guy from the other side of the plate man, he has great plate discipline, and he hits left-handers pretty well. So I just can't see St. Louis. They don't look like they have much of anything. No. I think they were lucky to get out of Atlanta.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Atlanta should have stomped them, to be honest. They just talent for talent, you match them up. Atlanta's better. They're just better. I agree. They should have won that series, and they did not.
Yep.
But the Nats are playing unbelievably well right now. I mean, Ryan Zimmerman is playing out of his tree. Did you see that play he made, diving play in the what?
Yep.
So I think they could use this hot run that they're on, and they could go pretty. They could make it challenging for whoever they play in the World Series. I really think they could, whether it's the Yankees or the Astros, especially if Strasburg and Scherzer just deal, which right now they're pitching very well. So
yeah, I mean, you get on a run late like this, late in the year, you just never know what you're capable of. We've seen it happen a million times. That's why each series is in and of itself like a season, and that's why every game is so valuable. That game last night was big for the Yankees. With Verlander and Cole coming up, the Yankees needed to win that game, and now the opposite is in play. The Astros have to win tonight with Verlander.
Yeah. Renee, Sanchez is a defensive liability behind the plate, but, his offensive capabilities are pretty darn good. So, who else are you going to go with? Who are you going to put back there? I mean, you could do a defensive change late in the game if you wanted to get a little bit better, but I wouldn't. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Sanchez is not a great defensive catcher, but the Yankees, they score so many runs. It just hasn't really affected them. I mean, when a game is close, yeah, a wild pitch or a pass ball is going to be a big problem. But up until now, the Yankees haven't needed to deal with that so far.
Yeah, Victor Coco, no, I am not a Nationals fan. As a matter of fact, I can't stand the Nationals, but they are a good team and they're playing well. I can't, you got to give them credit where credit is due. And Renee, yes, we haven't seen a lot of offense out of Sanchez, but that could change with one swing of the bat. Put him in the right situation, and he can put you up.
I will say this. I'd go after Gary Sanchez. I mean, he'd be a guy I would target. Yeah, he'd be a guy I would target because he's got tons of holes, strikes out a lot, doesn't make a lot of doesn't get a lot of hits. He can hurt you with the long ball, but he just doesn't get a lot of hits. And in these kinds of series, it seems over the years like the guys who get lots of hits have a big impact on these series. They drive in runs, they keep rallies going. Guys like Gary Sanchez, especially against really good pitching, is really susceptible. He's got a lot of the plate. He really doesn't control a lot of the plate. So I think he's a guy I would target and not have a problem going after if I were the Astros.
So who's your dark horse here in the playoffs? Like, what player would you pick to say that's going to have a good series or a good couple series here to propel their team forward? For any of the teams out there right now, let's say for the Yankees, who would you pick that isn't Aaron Judge or Torres? Who else on the roster would you say?
I actually think it's even more interesting to go the other way. I like Aaron Judge as a person, but I just haven't seen enough of Aaron Judge as a consistent hitter to feel like I have faith in him when he's up at the plate. I'm surprised at, again, how many holes he has.
Yeah, he's got a ton.
That first season he came up, he was awful. And I'm seeing, this season, some of that, not a lot of that, but some of that. And, I almost think he's a better defender than he is a hitter. I mean, obviously he's got the power and all, but he's another guy I would go after a little bit. I'd avoid LeMahieu, and I would avoid, of course, Gleyber Torres at all costs. But those other guys, I would go after. So who do I think is a dark horse? I don't know. I mean,
well, the Yankees lineup, it's hard because everybody's
good.
There.
There are no dark horses.
Yeah. So I mean,
you know what? At Yankee Stadium, I would say Didi Gregorius. A little bit of a resurrection from the season that he had. He struggled, left-handed, short porch. He could hit 4 home runs in 3 games at that ballpark easily. So that would be my pick.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Gio Urshela, he's been so good though. He really has. And then for Bregman for the Astros, Bregman's Astros third baseman.
Bregman's good.
Yeah, he is good. He's cocky too.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good thing. He's
he
got an
is.
attitude. I kind of like that though. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, he is really good.
He's got a little bit of swagger out there.
Yeah, well, he's been like the best player in the world since he's about 11. Because even when he at LSU his freshman year, he went to Team USA. Then he went to Team USA as a sophomore, and then he was like, the first or second pick in the nation.
Well, he was the second pick, but yeah. So it's a guy who's in the big leagues, but
was it Dansby Swanson?
Yes, yeah, and I think it was, yeah, and he's not doing as well as. I mean, he's doing okay, but yeah, he's no Bregman's tearing it up down.
Yeah, Dansby Swanson's a Vanderbilt guy. They hate one another. Those schools hate each other.
That's why he wears number 2 on his jersey, because he wants
a
to remind
player.
himself. He wants to remind himself. And I'll tell you what, man, I just love watching Altuve play. I don't, that guy. He's got a really good, quick, compact swing, and he just puts the ball in play hard all the time. Yep. And then even if he gets fooled, he's out on his front foot and he's putting the ball in play hard. It's amazing.
Yep.
It's amazing to watch that guy play.
Yeah, you really do see in the playoffs how important it is to make contact. You got to put the ball in play. That little bloop single that Gleyber Torres hit, he hangs in, man. He's on the ball for a long time. He doesn't quit on anything.
And that's what I said to my kid. I said, look, put the ball in play, man. Good things happen. Something happens. You strike out right there, nothing happens. You just walk back to the dugout. That's it.
Hard to drive in a run when you're striking out.
Yeah. So, and that's a tough thing to get the kids today to understand, kids that you're coaching, especially the younger kids, because they just all want to just drop and just, whoosh, everything's up. I'm just like, okay. How many home runs did you hit last year? None? Okay, let's put the ball in play hard.
Well, if you listen to a lot of the telecasts, they say the same thing. Or you go on Twitter or you look on Instagram, guys are saying the same thing. I mean, but you watch these games, not so much. So much.
They're just going up there ripping, trying to hit a home run every at bat. There are a couple guys who do a 2-strike approach. They get up there and they shorten up and then they try to hit the ball the opposite field. It's funny. Watch an old game. Watch a game from 20, 25 years ago. Me and my son watched one last night. And, they were bunting. Guy on first and second, no out, boom, a bunt. Right then and there. And it was a good hitter, too. It wasn't like it was the 8th or 9th guy. It was like the 1 or 2 guy, or maybe the 3rd guy. It was ridiculous. And then they were choking up, putting the ball in play the other way, with 2 strikes.
Yep.
Almost every hitter who came up to the plate. Totally different way the game is played. I still love it. But it's just different. It's different now. So.
Yeah, it's different. I guess always the question you ask after you say something is different: is it different for the better or for the worse? That's for another day. But the reality is, they're not scoring more runs. They may be hitting more home runs, but they're not scoring more runs. And the game is about scoring runs any way you can. And when it's 2nd and 3rd, and nobody out, and you're facing Justin Verlander, don't strike out. Don't strike out.
Put the ball in play. My son, he didn't understand the other day. There's a man on 1st and 3rd, and there was 1 out. And who was up? The lefty for Eaton, Adam Eaton.
I love him.
For the Nats. And a lefty was on the mound, falling away. They brought in a lefty to face him, and he's falling away to the third base side. And I'm like, what would be the perfect play right here? A pull bunt towards the second baseman. All you got to do is get out on front and just get it past the pitcher on that side. You get an RBI, you get the man to second. They might throw you out at first base, but
no double play.
Yeah, there is no double play. And the run's going to score. You just drove in a run. So my son was like, what? Who would do that? Why would you do that? Why would you just hit, I go, look, you need a run in this situation. It's a close game. You want to give yourself an insurance run? Man, that's the perfect play right here. They're not ready. They're not expecting that. So.
And Adam Eaton's the kind of player who will do stuff like that.
Yeah, who can do that. That's the kind of guy that you need up in that situation.
Yep.
Would have been nice. So, we've been on for 25. What do you got? Papers are great or something tonight?
No, I actually have to be on the phone with this game with these guys in Houston. I'm talking to my buddies with the Astros at the game. So
fantastic. Yeah, we're starting the feature film this week. We're shooting. We start this week and we end November 1st. So we're going to be. I'm already exhausted just from setting it up. Getting all the equipment and hiring all the people and doing all that. Oof, man, I'll tell you.
I told you. What's the key to acting?
Yes.
Overacting.
Overact. Just be big. Be big.
Ready? And you got to give this look.
Yes, every time. right into the camera. It's like, yes, I got it. Thanks, Webbs.
I learned that from I was in the Stanislavski school. You know, me and Marlon Brando, we were working together for a long time. So
yeah. You know, Brando, he talked about you a couple times. You know, in interviews. Said, you know, that Weber.
Yeah,
you know what makes him a good actor? It's
big head.
The size of his head.
That's right.
Looks great on camera.
Look at that. See?
So yeah, it looks great on camera. Ah, man, I'll tell you what though. You know, my kids today, frustrating. They made a few mistakes. I had a kid come up, big kid. You know, he's slow. Had a man on first base.
Fat.
He's slow. Right. Let's be politically correct here. He's big. Yeah, he's like 6'2". He's slow. He rips one to center field over the center fielder's head, but it's a short fence. It's not, you know, it's only like 275 center field, right? So it hits the fence on one hop. The guy from first, I send the guy from first. Boom, he scores. Well, here he comes. He ain't even at second base yet, and the ball's almost back in the infield. And he hits second base, and he just keeps right on coming.
Oh, geez.
And it's the third out of the inning, too. And he gets thrown out at third base by 10 feet. And he gets up, and he's like, yeah, he's all happy. And I'm like, I'm glad you hit that ball and hit it as hard as you did. But I'm proud of you for doing that. But here's the bad part. You got to stop at second base. You know, you really have to stop at second base. In that situation, you know, you're not the fastest guy on the team. You just drove in a run. We need you in scoring position. And now we're changing sides because, you know, we're still not hitting. So
did he start crying?
No, he just had that look on his face, though, like he was going to cry. He was like, and I was like, it's all right. You know, we live and learn. That's what we do. We live and learn. For you, stopping at second base should be right here every time you hit the ball in the gap or over somebody's head, right? Unless it bounces away and that guy falls down and dies and can't get back up.
My God.
I love it. You know, it's almost over, though. It's almost over. So,
thank God.
Yeah, and then, you know, we take a break. We take a break for a month and a half. I give it 3 days before my other coaches call me and go, when are we going to the cages?
Oh, God.
Can I have a at least through Thanksgiving, please? So, all right, Webbs, we've been on for a half an hour. I thank you for joining me. Thank you guys, Renee and Victor Coco and everybody else out there on YouTube. Sorry we got cut off from Facebook again. I'm going to try and figure this out, upgrade the software this week and see if we can't figure it out and get back to doing both Facebook and YouTube. YouTube seemed to work well tonight. That was good. And peace out. We'll see you guys. Thanks, Webbs.
Let's go.
All right.
See you, man. Love you.
See ya.